Hello, all of you vaingloriously wonderful people, and welcome back to Cities Skylines, where we are back in the lovely little town of Mine Pass. And it is a small town. We are just past the busy town, and we're on our way to Big Town. And you know, the city realizes that in order to achieve the founders' goals of becoming a major winter tourist destination, they're first going to need to just grow their tax base so that they have money to fund all those things. If they were to try to build the infrastructure and everything right now with just $4,000 coming in a week, with only $500,000 in the bank, not even $500,000, they'd go broke. They couldn't do it. We do have some pressing needs, though. But as we get started on working on those needs, I want to say hello. Welcome. If you recently joined the channel from City Planner Plays recommendation, first of all, huge thank you to City Planner Plays. I was blown away. I was just absolutely floored when I was checking my comments and I saw that there was a mention of my channel. And then when I saw who it was from and what for, I was humbled. Truly humbled. Thank you, City Planner Plays. Thank you, Phil. By the way, that's my middle name is Philip. It's my dad's first name. But no joke. It's true. Yeah, it definitely I've seen a boost, about 10 times more views on my City Skylines videos than usual, and a lot of new subscribers, so welcome. And if you are new to the channel, I'm Brandon, a variety YouTuber. I feature a lot of different games on my channel, and I stream a lot of City Skylines, along with a variety of other games, on my Twitch channel. So if you haven't checked out my Twitch channel, you can do that. And of course, I upload VODs in 1440p at 60 frames per second, because I can never stream it like that to Twitch. But I upload the VODs on my second YouTube channel, and there's a link in the description down below. And this fire brings me to a comment from one of you. But before I do that, we just put in a second geothermal heating plant. We were constantly, every time the temperature dropped much below where we are now, much below zero, really, we were exceeding our supply that we had of only 80. So we definitely need to go ahead and spend some money. I had to move some things over, which cost a lot of money to do so, but I didn't have enough room because I kind of forgot that I was saving this space. Yeah, that's why I should make notes. But yeah, we definitely have a problem, and it's a problem of my own creating. You may remember from the detailing episode, we went through and added in these wild hedges all up and down every walkway, and you can see exactly what has happened because of that. Every time there's a fire, even a small fire in any building, it instantly becomes a wildfire that just starts racing throughout town. We do have the fire helicopter depot, but they struggle to keep up. They will eventually get it put out. They usually everything catches on fire, there's something left to burn. That's often the case. As you can see, it quickly has made its way to consuming a lot of the area in the city. Or they will finally get caught up. It looks like in this case they may get caught up. So, had a comment from Matt Brady to, instead of using all these bushes, to use the forestry fence. And it's a good idea for the most part. And I'll talk about why I say for the most part. We'll go ahead and, on a nice straight block here, let me turn off collisions so I need collisions so I can get rid of the bushes. Let's see if I can't just do this without getting rid of the houses. And then I forgot to turn collisions back on. Let's try that again, shall we? Alright. Now let's see if I can get this in here. I believe, if I'm very careful, there's a thin line there. I did get rid of the path slightly, but we'll put it back. Let's fix this so that I know I'm getting the path in. I think I need my snap juice is the problem here. And then if I turn off everything except angle, I think we'll be in better shape. So let's try it one more time. Third time's a charm, I hope. So if I just bring that through here very carefully, there we go. I can get that in, but then the problem is this other side just wants to try to snap to what I've already built. It's a little tricky, but if you're patient, you can get it. And you know what? Aside from the fact we lost a couple houses because I wasn't quite careful with where I was placing the fence, and I want those back, so I'm going to try that one more time. Wait, go ahead. Fourth time's charm. We'll get it. We will get it. You can see it's wanting to jump down to that other fence. There's like one little pixel. There it is. That you can get in there with it. And then you got to be really careful. Because it wants to try to snap on the other side as well. I still think that, yeah, it's still going to, and now it's even worse. Now, how did I do that on that side, but I can't manage it on this side? I wonder if a better solution... These people are going to get really tired of rebuilding their homes. But we're only messing with one block, so it's okay. Maybe a better solution then. And we'll just try it and see how it goes. Will be to hide that and hide that. And go into the parallel road tool. Will it let me select the path? No. Why not? Okay. Maybe this node is just a little too close. So we'll back that node off and try it one more time. Select our fence. Select parallel road. Parallel road. I don't know why I have such a hard time saying that. Yeah, it doesn't like it. Alright, so that's a bust idea. So I guess I'm just going to have to be more careful. So let's go and try turn an even angle off here. See if I can get this in here without it snapping. You can see it jumping down. Try one more time to not mess with the zoning. I did this when I was checking out to see how I liked this. I didn't do this particular block. There we go. I got it. Cool. So this is fine. I like to, you know, from up here, that looks fine. A little orange, a little wonky because we do have uneven terrain everywhere, and we did not grade this area. We will grade future areas, but we did not, and it was kind of on purpose. You know, early town, not a lot of money. Even though I'm not paying for it, I still didn't want to do a whole lot of grading. We could probably come through with a soften brush and just clean this up right along the path and make that look a little bit better, and I think we can probably get away with that. Maybe not on every block. But this block, it helps. It's still not the best, but we can live with it. And that works fine. I like to look at my cities, though, from the view of the citizens as well. In fact, a lot of times in live streams, we'll just pick somebody at random and just follow them around during the day and see where they go, what they do, what they're up to. Ooh, this is, yeah, see, this is bad. This is just the sidewalk. It has nothing to do with the fence. But this looks fine in through here because you can see out to either end. So I'm fine with it on most of the blocks. Where I found that it doesn't really work that well, though, is here where there's curves. It leads to a very claustrophobic feeling. And I don't want that. I don't want it to feel claustrophobic in through here. So I think I have a different solution for there. But what I'm going to do is get this done. I'll change all these fences, quote unquote, off camera. Because it's not really the priority of what I want to focus on today. What I want to focus on today is, as I mentioned at the outset, the city needs a growing tax base. And that means we need to develop more land and, you know, kind of quickly. I don't want to go into this without, you know, really thinking about what we're doing, but I do want to bring a little bit of development over here and back here, and then I'd really like to have something out over here. My problem is, how do we get there? if we go off the collector, sure, we could do a bridge, but we don't have a whole lot of space to get a bridge to go over. I mean, that needs to go up like 8 meters to clear the highway, and that just... even that doesn't clear the highway. Maybe it needs to be 9 meters, and then we're probably going to get sloped too steep. And I just feel that that is a bit of an unacceptable slope. I don't like it. So I think instead what we're going to do is a combination of things. Definitely not going to be the quote-unquote height of realism here. Not at all. However, we're going to do it anyway. I don't go for ultra-realistic. Everybody plays Cities Skylines differently. And I'm okay with taking liberties because it's game. So I am going to come through here and convert a large chunk of this to a bridge. And this is going to open up a lot of opportunities for us. Would such a highway exist out in the middle of nowhere? No. Of course not. But that doesn't mean we're not going to do it. So what I want to do is, for a few segments here, I just want to be sure that we're going to be, I don't want the segment, I want the node. Just going to be sure that we're going to give ourselves some opportunities to expand. So probably all those segments, and I'm going to bring them up a bit up off the ground here. Actually, I need to stop that for a minute. What I want to do is just build just a dirt road right here that is 5 meters off the ground. And you may be wondering why 5. You'll see. You'll see. Actually, let's go 7. I like the idea of 7 better. So we're going to just bring this up 7. And now we know that's 7 meters. We should still have all our nodes selected. So I can take Control H, go to that, and that should all now be up there at that elevation. Doesn't quite look the same just because, well, it's a tiny little wood bridge and we've got all the cement under there, but this will work. So then I want to grab these same nodes on this side and go through here and bring them all up to that same elevation. And then just slope the rest of this out. It's not a bad slope as is, but I think we can definitely clean it up. So we're going to go into our multi-tool, grab the slopes, go from here, go to the end of the bridge. 6.5 there, 2.4. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. 2.3 on that end. And then down here we can do much the same. 1.5. Perfect. I know, a guy who says he doesn't care about realism and then worrying about slopes on a bridge. You know what? Leave me alone. So then I want to come in here and bring a road under here. I'm going to select this. And if I just go through, if I turn anarchy off, obviously we can't get under. But now what we can do is go down just, what is it? Oh, okay, there's the problem. I'm like, we should be underground by now. What is it, 7 meters we can go down? And I don't know if that's even going to get under. No, it will. That'll work. But what do we have in terms of the hill right here? I wonder if we can get away with even less. We're going to experiment here until we find it. And that's a lot of what I do in Cities Skylines is just kind of find a way to make things work. And I think that'll do. That should clear trucks. And it gets the collector under without any real issue. The problem is now we're quickly running out of land, and that's where I want to stop. Go into our train tool. And then we're going to do something that might be a little controversial. Um, but we're going to do it anyway. I am going to grab that height right there and just start leveling an area here. I'm going to try to bring... Yeah, that's what I was worried about, is that that's going to start looking bad. Maybe we'll come and stop that, like, right there. That'll at least give me room to get this out of here. I want to use some of this land over here. This is beautiful land. Right on the waterfront. And if we kind of follow some of these train lines right here, like, got a little too greedy there. I'm trying to keep it on this one right here. It's a little hard to see at times. And it's just as hard to see in the train heights view. It's just a little difficult. I could get rid of all the trees and that would make it a little easier, but I'd rather not get rid of all the trees. I just have to put them back. Why bother at that point? Just leave it alone. I am going to go ahead and bring this on out. And then we're going to do some smoothing at the end. I'm going to bring that out right to the edge of where that shore is. And then we'll smooth this off. This has us really high up above the water with some really, really, really tall shorelines. I don't like it. And you probably don't either, and I don't blame you. So let's make this a little bigger and clear a lot of this in one shot. Some of this is fine, because it's not really impacting much. Like here we can smooth this out, no problem, but as we start getting around back to where the highway is, that's going to quickly become an issue there. So we don't want that, but we could bring it back some and smooth it out. And then out here, we actually wind up going down a little bit. So let's see what this is going to look like. Let's go back with that brush. Maybe a little bigger than that. There we go. So again, I'm going to try to get right to this coastline. I'm going to bring all this through. I'm going to speed things up while we do it. And then we'll take a look at how we can make this look decent after we get done with this. There we go. So for the most part, we have a nice big flat area, but we also now have a shore that's really high up above the water, but I'm kind of okay with it for the most part. What I want to do is now grab the soften tool and just tap this back just a little bit around all these edges, just so it's not as steep of a jump off into the water. Just kind of soften this up a little bit. I think there's definitely merit to this. If anything, it just kind of eases this transition. We already have these rocky coasts here, and that's fine. We're gonna stick with them. But we've opened up a lot of land here, a lot of land, and I'm kind of excited about it because this will basically double the size of the city. I'm a bit concerned about bringing everything in on that collector, but we'll look at that as well. As time goes on, I plan on having another interchange kind of out in the direction that we've been moving. Just taper this a little bit extra. And then bring this around. I think I'm going to bring that brush strength down just a little bit. Do it a bit more in some areas than I want. There we go. That's better. And where is it? Let's just drag across then. There, that works. And right into here, and then where we made this hill, I just want to soften it, or the gouge in the hill, we just want to soften that back out. And then a lot of our transition is now hidden under the highway, and I'm fine with that. See if we can't make that look a little better. We will in the future. But we're eventually going to have an interchange somewhere down here that we can feed a road into, and of course we're still working that way as well. I know it doesn't look like we are right now, but we will. So this gives us tons of opportunity now over here to plan out a rather nice area. So what I'm going to do is get a road network laid down that kind of respects the coastline and gets a little bit away from our grid, and then we will be right back. So this is the side that I want to start on first, and we've got some, weird things happening here, but there's a reason there's some weird things happening here. I'm envisioning this as kind of an area for our schools with some different parks and things around here, and this is kind of loosely designed off of a community just about a half a mile from where I live. I live in a lake resort area-ish, sort of. It's kind of hard. It's Arkansas, so how resorty can you get? But it does have, not too far from me, there's a lot of very high-end properties. And then there's surrounded by a lot of, not upper middle class, but definitely not just your average everyday housing. In little neighborhoods, and in the middle of them they have a little private school that they have, because of course they do. Say what you will about private schools, that's a debate for a different day. But they have a nice little park campus, and it's open to the neighborhood, and I'm pretty sure it's actually open to the whole community. It's not a part of it's a gated community where the multi-million-dollar homes are, but the rest of it is just open, and you can just go there. As far as I know, I mean, I see a ton of people there quite often. When I actually managed to drive back there, it's really secluded, and it kind of sits out on a peninsula that sticks out into the lake, like this does, and it only really has one way in and one way out, which I know, from a safety perspective, isn't the greatest. But if you're going for that seclusion and that away from town feeling, and there are sacrifices that you have to make in order to get that type of development, and that's just what we're looking at today. So let's get, even though we don't really need the capacity, we do need the reach over here. We don't really have anything, and we are going to go ahead and go, since we mentioned private schools, we are going to go ahead and go with these guys here, and I think I want the elementary here, and then our high school is a big boy right there. And then what I'm hoping is we can fit in. Oh, I know we can fit the playground. That's not going to be an issue. We can fit that right there, no problem. What I'm hoping is that when I scroll this way, we can get in the soccer field. We're not going to get the stadium, plus that's a little overkill. But I think a nice soccer pitch in through here wouldn't be too bad. Kind of wish it was oriented that direction. I could put it on the road to do so. But I think we're going to just go with that. And I honestly think we might just bring the schools on both sides of the same side of the road. And then bring this over just a tad. Now let's see what it is. However, we are going to go to something that many of you will probably recognize. You may have spotted it. Yes, City Planner Plays parking lot. And over here by the high school, we're going to provide just a little bit of parking here. It doesn't look the greatest in the snow, kind of gets hidden, but at least it's there. So now I'm just going to look at our city services. We know that healthcare is going to be a big issue out here because our nearest healthcare is way over there. So we are going to need a clinic, and I'm going to bring that in right off of the collector that runs and dead ends into this area. Which, if you're wondering about dead end collectors and things like that, again, I live in a water oriented area, and it's exactly how it is. We've got roads that just dead end. We've got state highways that just tee into one another. It's chaos. That's all I can really say about our roads. Is it's just absolute chaos. I want to get our other city services in, but man, getting this fire coverage all the way out to here is a little tricky. I don't want one of these big firehouses because I don't feel it's really going to meet our needs, and I really don't want to take up this land. So we may just come off here and just kind of pile on our city services over here, but we have to have them. In reality, there would be nothing out here but the schools. And the sheriff and the nearest fire department would take care of it. We have, thankfully, right on the edge of city fire coverage, and there is actually a city fire station not too far from where I live. So I do want to dab in just a little bit of commercial up here along our collector. Not a huge amount. And it is deviating from what we were doing up there, but that's intentional. And then maybe a little bit right there, but that's it. The rest of this is all going to be residential. So I'm going to get this zoned in. First, I'm going to get some paths in, get it zoned in, and then we'll take a look at where we're going to go with this next. So I've got that all zoned in, and suddenly remembered one of the big challenges of a winter map is trying to see the zoning. And it's rough. So we went through and we left some separation. It's a little closer than we will do in some of our other riverfront areas, but it still gives some slightly larger lots, bigger yards, areas for your kids to play ball and all of that good stuff. And we will fill in more up and around here. I have a plan for this area, though. We're going to do a nature reserve. But before we get to that, I want to come back over in here into the main part of town. And we were going to do a park right here, which we still did. It's just a pedestrian center. But I do still want to take advantage of this area that we have. It's green space. It's white space at this point. But if this were any other map, it would be green space. I want to take advantage of it and bring in a city park that just kind of squeezes itself along the collector. Now, the troubling thing is that pedestrian areas and parks don't play very well together, so we have to kind of be careful as we go past that. Same with our industrial district, but with the industrial, we have a little bit more leeway because it doesn't need to be all the way up here to the collector. It's not the prettiest edges on all this, but functional. We're getting there. And then bring this all the way down there. I always hate, as I say in my live streams, coloring outside the lines. It annoys me. I don't know why it annoys me, but it annoys me. And I judge myself harshly for it. So I want to do a city park. I don't have any of the invisible gates or anything like that, so we just have to use what we have. And I want to get this situated, though, to where it's sitting in the middle here, where we had that path. Which means we'll probably have to do that with all of the gates, though we could just do that one gate and be done with it. I think that's what we're going to do. And then we can just use park assets from here on in. I'm curious, and I think I've seen someone do it, but I think you can change the path type on these using Bob, but maybe something that we look into. But I just want to come through here and now bring maybe a secondary path back along all these guys, just so we have room to attach things to. So if we go right there, and I really don't want that to be right against those homes, but I don't think I really have a choice because of the space constraint that we have. So we will just bring that through. Come on, snap. Okay, you're not wanting to snap where the other one was. So we'll just go grid on this one. All the way across and all the way down to here. And then we'll bring that right in next to those people's house so you can see what they're watching on Netflix tonight. And then we're just going to come in. Now let's see. Where do we have what? So we have commercial here and commercial here. So I think since we've got a nice commercial node on here, this commercial node is served by food trucks and things down here. So I'm thinking for a park cafe, we could get something down here and kind of serve this area. And I like that these back up almost right up against the road. So we're just going to bring in a cafe and get a little restroom in here as well. And maybe a little park info booth right next to that. And that's probably where we're going to have to stop for a while. Though we could probably get some fountains in to kind of mirror what we're doing at the entrance of this park. Have the two park plazas with their very, very, very frozen fountain. What is with the iridescent shimmer? It's really strange. But that's probably all the farther we're going to get on that park, simply because, well, it's level 1 and we don't have anything else. So that gets us some nice expansion. We are up to level 2 on our Sterling Davies lumber, which I didn't even notice the synergy. I didn't even plan it, but Sterling Davies built on Sterling Way. So I guess when he asked for the road, it just was named after him. Kind of nice. We are going to do more, though. We are definitely going to do more with this. Sterling is currently in talks with a neighbor friend of his to start looking out towards that end of town and do some development. So we haven't quite got everything grown in here. I do believe if we let it run for just a moment, however, we will see a bit more growth, especially out towards this way. Just all of our city services are focused up there, so they're really going to develop that first. And this will fill in later as I say that, a house comes in. But this will all fill in later as we get demand for residential. Let's see if we can't. We won't get up to 6,500, but I bet we can get up to 55, maybe 5,250. So I'm going to let this run for just a moment and see what type of milestone we can get to. And would you look at that? The city is experiencing water shortage. Ooh, and we're getting kind of close on our sewage as well. So let's take care of that real quick. I really hate to just continue water towers out here. We could. These things are so unsightly though, and it's so high up above the water. But we could go with one of those and maybe look at another solution later on down the road. It would probably help if I connect that up. This is probably going to need heating though out here. No, it is just within range, so it is fine. And that will give us quite a bit of water. I just think that doesn't... I don't know, I think water towers look more at home in a city of this size than this big, huge thing, but we're going to go with it and hope it doesn't drain our river. So let's go back down here and continue watching as things are filling out pretty quickly. It's almost there. And there we go. We have gotten most of this area filled in, and we're even starting to see some level 2 and 3 homes, I think. Definitely level 2. There might be some level 3. Now, I left a lot of empty space here, and I did that on purpose because we're going to come in with yet another park. And I want to make this a park area so that in this area we can kind of expand on our, you know what, I may make this one big park just to get the upgrade synergy. Ooh, that's a good idea. Let's do it. Let's bring this, oh, wrong one. Let's bring this over to here, and then we'll fill in this area. But I want to be able to have some climbing frames and stuff like that, but in back here in a couple neighborhood gazebos. I've never really understood it, the neighborhood where I live. It's just an average little neighborhood, houses one on top of the other. The developer came in and built a bunch of cookie cutter houses. It's all the same floor plan, just kind of turned on the lots at different angles with different finishes on them, but it's all the same floor plan. But right smack dab in the middle, just across the street and maybe 4 houses down, there's just a gazebo. Originally, I guess there was going to be like a homeowners association and everything here, but they somehow failed to get approval. I don't know. I wasn't here back then. But and the people who were going to have the homeowners association apparently built the gazebo, so whatever. It's just kind of funny though, because like it never gets used. I've lived here 4 years in the same house, and I've never seen it used a single time. So I wanted to wait to zone anything into this area because I wanted to get the park established, because we are going to have some houses that back into the park, and there's not a node there. It looks like there should be, but there's actually playground equipment there. But that gets a lot of this connected. And then over here, I just want to get in a couple of paths to get you from this side over to that side, essentially. Nothing too terribly fancy, but I want to leave room for another cafe, simply because I think that would be a good thing to have. So come from this corner here, and then work our way back this way. We probably won't zone anything here, because that would get noisy when there's a match, and you really wouldn't want the lights. I mean, as it is, these folks here are going to have lights shining in. In fact, I think there'd probably be some value in coming in right behind here. Just lining this so that it feels a bit more. That would help. It wouldn't be the best, but it would definitely help. But I would like to get in one more park cafe back here and some restrooms. That's an info booth. I just don't know if it's going to fit. Yeah, it'll fit. We can get it in there. And you can walk around the corner, and then we'll get some restrooms tucked in right next to it. And on this side, we will, once we get the climbing frames and trampoline park, we will add them to kind of expand this out. And then we'll finally do detailing once we get all of that in and see where everything is going to be. The last thing I want to look at is, what are these guys complaining about? What are you complaining about? What, land value? Well, then why did you upgrade your house? Why did you do that? Seriously, why would you have done that? You would think that this park would start bringing land value up, but it hasn't yet. Interesting. That's peculiar. Usually the parks will bring up land value a bit. I'm kind of curious to look at just the overall satisfaction from parks, and we're not getting all that much here. Is it because they don't have gates? Is that the problem? Do they want gates? I mean, I'll give them a gate. If they really want a gate, they can have a gate here. I'll give you a gate. That guy's like, I was walking here. You know what? You can have a side gate, right there. Just for you. Oh, they love it. They're so happy with the side gate. Do you really want to pay to have to get to this park? Is that the thing? You just don't feel that it's really here unless I do this? This is odd. I've never had this happen before, where a park area with a decent entertainment value, which we got to come over here to look at. I mean, that's a strong entertainment value for a level 1 park. that it doesn't bring up land values. So we're probably going to see some homes go abandoned here. I'm not sure what prompted them to upgrade if they didn't have the land value there to begin with. And we even have a level 3 in there. Anyway, I wanted to look at land value over here because we start out with pretty much this whole area because of the coast already in a middle land value, and then right here where the houses have started to upgrade, you can see it's coming up, and that's kind of what I wanted. Was just a slightly higher land value. They're your foremen and managers of all the different industries, maybe even a couple of people who have moved into executive roles in Davies Sterling Lumber. But that is kind of the goal I was going for. Definitely don't have the super huge lots, but there's still some very nice homes. Like, that looks fantastic. This is like, if ever there was a house that fit this map, that's the one. I mean, there's a thumbnail right there to upgrade. Watch as we're looking at it. But anyways, I think we're leaving the town in a good place. We're at 5,700 though. We're probably gonna lose a few hundred here pretty soon. A lot of these houses will most likely go abandoned unless we get the park upgraded quick enough to offset that. But I am truly surprised that our park area isn't just bringing higher land value. Typically it will, and that's just a strange thing. But anyways, we're gonna leave it there for now. So until next time, I'm Brandon, reminding you that in the next video we're going to build a nature trail and to stay vainglorious.